She poured her soul and millions into building the most extravagant villa the town had ever seen. But on the night of her grand celebration, as champagne flowed and guests marveled, the rightful owner walked in. He showed a single, weathered piece of paper and took it all. Cornel Banning didn't expect to see strangers on his land that Tuesday morning. He was driving back from a supply run, his coffee still warm, when he spotted 3 men in neon vests hammering stakes into the soil his grandfather had once plowed. The acre of dry Texas earth wasn't much to look at, but to Cornel, it was sacred ground, a ledger of his family's endurance. A woman in a tailored beige blazer stood nearby, giving orders as if she owned the place. Cornel stepped out. "What do you think you're doing?" he called. She turned, chin high, surveying. "This is my land," Cornel replied, his voice low and sharp. "Banning property. 3 generations." She didn't waver. "It's unused. We're assessing it for a community project that will raise everyone's property values." She introduced herself as Judith Marrow, HOA president, her tone condescending. "This is about progress." Cornel's jaw clenched. "You don't touch a man's land without his say. You don't erase history for your own vision." Judith smiled thinly. "History doesn't pay the bills. Your acre is an eyesore. We are correcting that." One worker looked uncomfortable, but Judith radiated confidence. Cornel's voice dropped. "My grandfather said the land remembers who walks it. You're not walking it with respect." Her smile faltered for a second. "Lawyers can argue later. Right now we build." Cornel didn't shout. He returned to his truck, gripping the wheel until his knuckles whitened. He watched her command the men, his family's land being swallowed by her arrogance. It cut deep, but lit a cold spark inside him. She thought she'd already won. He started his engine and drove off, a plan taking root. He wouldn't stop her. Not yet. If she wanted to build a palace on his soil, he'd let her dig the hole deeper first. Long before the surveyors arrived, the acre held a profound weight in Cornel's heart. His grandfather, Elijah, bought it after the war, a stretch of dusty soil representing permanence. Cornel grew up walking the wire fence lines, learning to fix posts with grit and baling wire. "Boy, dirt's the one thing they ain't making more of," Elijah would say, his voice rough as the land. "You guard it. You honor it." Those words stayed with Cornel through college and a career that kept him traveling. When the land passed him, Plano had transformed. New homes sprouted where cornfields once stood, and developers eyed every unused patch. But Cornel never sold. The lot sat empty, a financial burden, but it was his grandfather's fingerprint on the world. He'd park there sometimes, sitting in the quiet, remembering Elijah's calloused hands and steady voice. The neighborhood around it grew polished, with stone walls and manicured lawns. The HOA emerged, dictating mailbox colors and curtain styles. Cornel never joined. His separation made his acre a target. To HOA eyes, it was a blemish. To Judith Marrow, it was an opportunity. He understood her the moment he saw her on his property. She wasn't just building. She was trying to erase his history and write her own over it. That night, he pulled the deed from a fireproof box. Tracing his grandfather's bold signature, anger surged, followed by clarity. He had the law on his side. He didn't need fists. He needed patience. The land had taught him that. You let your opponent think they're ahead because the fall is harder. He was defending a legacy, but legacy alone wouldn't stop bulldozers. The fight was coming. The sound hit Cornel first, the deep thud of machinery pounding earth. He turned onto his street to a gut-wrenching sight, a backhoe cutting into his soil. The acre was fenced with orange barriers, workers swarming. Concrete trucks idled, rebar glistened. Construction was in full swing. He marched past a foreman's warning. "Who gave you permission?" "Talk to Miss Marrow." Judith arrived, stepping from her SUV as if attending a gala. "Cornel, good morning." "What the hell are you doing?" he demanded, voice shaking. She silenced him with a raised hand. "This project benefits everyone. Jobs. Investment. Do you want to hold progress hostage over sentimentality? You're trespassing. This is banning land." "Then sue me," she whispered, leaning in. "By the time the courts move, this villa will be finished." Once people see it, no one will care about your paperwork. Cornel stared, fury in his eyes. You're building a castle on quicksand, Judith. She smirked. Funny. It looks like solid ground to me. She turned away, clicking her heels on the gravel. Neighbors gathered, whispering. That evening, Cornel watched the foundation forms outline his future prison. His cousin Jerome called. You seeing this? You gonna stop her? Not yet, Cornel said slowly. Asterisk not yet. Asterisk she's stealing your land. Sometimes the best way to win is to let them think they have, Cornel replied, his gaze fixed on the rising steel. Every brick she lays makes my case stronger. He was patient, but with each beam, the stakes grew higher, and silence alone wouldn't hold back the coming storm. Cornel chose a path Judith never expected, visible in action. While she paraded through the construction site, he watched from the road, a ghost in his own story. Behind the scenes, he was meticulously building his case. He sent the deed to his attorney, Paul Richter. It's airtight, Paul confirmed. But if you sue now, it could drag on for years. If the house is finished by then, it gets complicated. Ow, Cornel asked. The structure becomes yours, but she'll countersue. It'll be a costly mess. Then I wait, Cornel stated. Wait? That's cold-blooded. It's patient, Cornel corrected. He documented everything. Time-stamped photos, discarded receipts, subcontractor licenses. He overheard workers at a gas station. Imported stone, gonna be worth $7 million. HOA president just grabbed the land. Bull. Cornel struck durchschlemmt. Theft, he thought. Judith grew bolder, hosting tours amid unfinished walls. This will redefine Plano, she'd say, beaming. Cornel once tipped his hat at her from afar. Keep going. The villa climbed, adorned with Italian stone and chandeliers from overseas. Neighbors whispered he had given up. They were wrong. He was sharpening his blade. Judith's ambition was her fuel, but every dollar spent was a nail in her coffin. The villa was nearly complete, a gleaming monument. But for whom? The question hung in the air as Cornel's patience neared its end, the weight of the inevitable moment pressing down. The night of Judith's grand unveiling was a performance of pure arrogance. The villa gleamed under floodlights. A red carpet welcomed guests in luxury cars and cocktail dresses. Inside, Judith floated in a silver dress. To progress. To vision, she toasted, champagne glass held high. Cornel sat in his truck down the block, dressed in jeans and boots. He wasn't there for the party. He was there for the truth. When he stepped onto the red carpet, the chatter died. Judith spotted him, her smile tightening. Mr. Banning, come to finally see progress. His eyes swept the marble and crystal. I didn't come to see progress. He pulled a folded, weathered document from his jacket. I came to remind you who this land belongs to. He held the deed aloft. Elijah Banning purchased this acre in 1947. It passed to his son, and now to me. Legally. Rightfully. Every brick in this house stands on my soil, which makes it mine. The crowd erupted in gasps and murmurs. Phones lifted, recording. Judith forced a laugh. A pathetic stunt. This house is mine. The county clerk disagrees, Cornel said, his voice steady and strong. Every dollar you poured in landed in my pocket the moment you broke ground. Judith's mask shattered. You think you can humiliate me? You did that yourself when you decided my history was disposable. Silence. Judith's glass cracked in her hand. Cornel folded the deed. Remember this night as the lesson of what happens when pride outruns respect. He walked out, leaving the gala, and Judith's dream, in ruins. The fallout would be swift and public, but for Cornel, it was never about the mansion. It was about honoring the dirt beneath it, and a legacy that no amount of money could ever erase.